Right, we've got some prizes here which I haven't mentioned. Maybe I should encourage you. And we need more. We've got 4 tickets for the Gerry Kelly show. Or else his mobile phone number, whichever you prefer. And a meal for 2 in the old Schoolhouse Castle in Espy, collected by limo. Meal for 2, an overnight stay in the bridal suite. And that's make 2 men very happy. And Mick from Omagh, no, we've already done that. And also we've got a night in the new Benedict's Hotel. And why do we not have this here? A night in the new Benedict's Hotel and photograph taken in the Sunday World. And many people may not want that, but I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good day to die. What else have we got? We've got some prizes aren't here, you know. I remember some that aren't here. All right, okay, sorry, we'll fight later. It's Sean Coyle's fault. He's lying at home. Supine. There's nothing wrong with him. He'll be in tomorrow, by the way, those of you who care about him. Right, I was talking the other days about something completely different. I think it's time to bring this up. I was talking a long time ago about a book I'd read. Well, I hadn't read it, but somebody told me about it. It's called The World in One Day. It's a list of things that happen in the world every 24 hours. And I got a copy of that book the other day, and I just took a liberty of writing some of the things down. And I think it's important because we've neglected the educational element of this programme because, after all, Lord Reith said we are here in the BBC to educate, inform and entertain. Not entertain completely. Of course, we do little of that. We inform little, but we educate none. So this is a list of things that happen in the world every 24 hours. These are things that nobody knows out there. I thought it important to get these together. Do you know that in 24 hours, all the hens in the world lay 2 billion eggs? Enough to make an omelette, it says, the size of Cyprus. Right. Using these figures, I've calculated that all the eggs laid in 24 hours by all the hens in Ireland would only make an omelette the size of Rathlin Island. We can have a competition about that later. And this is invaluable information. And also, did you know that in 24 hours, 3 million French people sleep outside in tents? Now, you try that as a conversational opening gambit at a party and listen to the silence that follows. That's the type of thing people talk about. You know what solicitors do? Do you know the 3 million French people sleep outside in tents every 24 hours? Like a thing you'd hear in the Malone Road. Also, now this is genuine stuff here, and this I'm fascinated by this. In 24 hours, it said 800,000 Japanese people sing karaoke in public. Also, it says that in 24 hours, 820,000 golf balls are sold. Half of them to Japanese people. Now, I put these two together. That's 410,000 golf balls sold in Japan every day. If you add the 800,000 Japanese to the 410,000 who bag golf balls, that means that during any given day, nearly 1.25 million Japanese people are either singing karaoke or buying a golf ball. I know you're thinking about that, which leads us to the unasked question. Who's making the Japanese car and the CD players? Of course, you know the answer to that is factory workers in England. In 24 hours also, 23 men produce enough sperm to repopulate the entire world, the population of which is 6 billion people. And coincidentally, all 23 of them are called Davy. They have moustaches, they listen to Cool FM, and they drink in rugby clubs. Also, in each 24 hours, the average koala bear is only awake for 2 of them. That reminds of me when I was in the Dole. I used to sleep 22 hours a day, nothing unusual about that. Anyway, think about it. The koala bear is only awake 2 hours a day. That only gives him time to watch Neighbours, Home and Away, and Emmerdale. And that leaves only 15 minutes of Ricky and Jerry Springer. Then it's on with the jammies and back into the pit. How are they going to learn anything? Also, in any given period of 24 hours, 26,000 Chinese people get married. That's a lot of rice being thrown about. That's enough rice to bury 50 Europeans alive. No, sorry, I just made that up. And in 24 hours, a cheetah travelling at a top speed of 70 miles an hour can theoretically cover a distance of 1,680 miles, only if it gets a drink of water. And in 24 hours, all the world's sheep produce 15.5 million jumpers, the majority of which will be bought by Julian Simmons, Val Dunnigan and Noel Edmonds, and people who go to DIY shops on a Sunday morning. And remember, sheep don't use a knitting machine. Also, in 24 hours, in 24 hours, every ant eats its own weight. Only one human being has ever managed that, and Eamon Holmes would like to meet him and swap notes. Also, every 24 hours, 2 people are bitten by snakes in Sri Lanka. And yes, you've guessed it. They say if it doesn't stop, they're moving. And in 24 hours, the growth of the nails on everybody's fingers and toes is equal to the distance between London and New York. And if you include Lily Savage and Howard Hughes, the distance is marginally smaller. And here's a good one. This is one I like. The skin shed by all the people in the world in 24 hours would fill a 4-story house. But you have to ask yourself this, would you take that house if the housing executive offered it to you? And here's a little-known fact. All the beards of all the people in the world, described here as the world's beards, grow 485 miles a day, except those belonging to Gerry Adams and Lord Alderdice, both of whose beards seem to remain the same length There's no reference at all to that in the agreement, and both beers are also going grey at roughly the same rate, which seems to indicate some form of collusion, which may or may not be helpful when the new executive sits. I'm not quite sure about that one. And also the last one, I'm not going to bore you anymore with this, but it's fascinating stuff. All the gold mined in the world in 24 hours is only enough to fill an average kitchen fridge. And yes, I wish it was mine.